We are now heading into Holowilena Station. It's full of character and history. We'll be staying out here for a few days, long enough to soak it all in.
Holowilena has been in our family since well before Bert met Wills.
We got the best lowdown on the property. Golden light streaming through the dry riverbed.
It's going to get the fire going.
Oh, now you're talking. So we're on the spring well track up the hill towards the summits.
Looking forward to this. These majestic red river gums.
They mark the paths of these old riverbeds and you can really feel it. We're heading up to the beautiful Woolshed.
We shear in March. It's the time of year we love.
Holowilena's always been a merino sheep station.
The story goes with it as much as the product. The story is more important.
It's being able to share our passion with other people.
We hope this video is a bit of a time capsule through our eyes.
Thanks for coming along and for sharing our stories.
Hi everyone, we're Pete and Tan. Welcome back to another episode of Art Zone Travels Off-Grid Ventures. Welcome to Holowilena Station, a place where the past isn't just remembered, it's still being lived. In this episode, we take you deep into the heart of the Flinders Ranges to explore this station that's been in the same family since 1853. 6 generations of grit, grace and deep connection to country. We meet Francis and Luke and get to experience their generosity in sharing Holowilena Station, the place they call home. You'll discover the rugged charm of Holowilena itself, a living story written into every stone wall and weathered timber, soaking in its unique charm and rugged character. We'll journey along the Springwells four-wheel drive track, a self-guided adventure through breathtaking outback landscapes, and show you one of the most stunning and remote bush camping spots you'll ever find. As day fades, we gather under the stars for a classic outback cook-up by the fire, surrounded by silence and sky. You'll step inside the sharing shed where echoes of the past still linger. Together, we get to walk back through time with Francis, whose guided history tour brings Holowilena's rich heritage to life with depth, heart and story. Luke, known as the Outback Blacksmith, fires up the old 1850s forge and gives a live demonstration of the age-old skills he's proudly keeping alive. And finally, we take a peaceful walk up an old riverbed and climb to a rise, just in time to watch the sun sink over this wide and timeless land. This is more than a visit. It's an invitation to slow down, listen and connect. It's given us a new appreciation for life in the outback and a respect for those who keep these traditions alive. This is Holowilena, a place where history, adventure and outback hospitality all come together. A place where the past isn't just remembered, it's still being lived. Let's begin. Today we are heading to a place that is full of character and history. So what we're doing now is we're travelling between Hawker out to Holowilena. We've had some really great clear directions emailed to us from Francis out on the station. Okay, so we are on the dirt again and we are now heading into Holowilena Station. It's probably about a 55-minute drive from Hawker, and it's an absolutely beautiful drive.
So as we left the main road and come along here, it instantly went to being a dirt road, and it's cracking. It's just graded. It's very smooth. Driving up this country road is just magnificent.
We are really excited about this day because it's somewhere we've never been in the Flinders before, out on a pastoral station, something completely new. And why we love that is because then there's something new to learn and more questions to ask. So that's what we'll be doing when we get out there. So we'll be staying out here for a few days, just long enough to soak it all in. Holowilena was actually established in the 1850s, making it probably one of the older pastoral leases in the region. It's steeped in early settler history.
Holowilena Station is still a working sheep station, and it carries on the traditions of pastoral leases over many generations. And we have an opportunity to go there because they allow visitors. It's a station stay.
So we are very excited about exploring the landscape there, the history, the pastoral story. We're really excited too to explore some of their gorgeous renovated old houses that I think was done a couple of years ago. You might have seen it. It was shown on the ABC on Restoration Australia. Absolutely incredible story. Look forward to taking you along with us. We have arrived. This is so beautiful, so charming. We can see the cottages and the historic buildings. It's just going to be absolutely beautiful exploring here. So excited. What a lovely welcome. So we are now going to go and find our camp. It's just up the road a little bit, down by a creek. It's called the Chimney Camp, is it?
Yeah, number 8 Chimney Camp. Now these people work very hard, so they've left us a fantastic note to say, we're out working, this is where you got to go, so we're going to follow the map, and then we're going to have smoker with them tomorrow at 10. So can't wait for that, and I can't wait to see our sights.
Let's be off. How exciting. Looks like on the map that it's down by a dry creek bed, so that can be exciting now. Here we are, we've just arrived. Absolutely exquisite. This campsite is absolutely beautiful. The golden light streaming through the dry riverbed here in front of us, and we've made a decision.
Yep, we're not going to unhitch. We're just going to get the fire going and put on a beautiful meal and just watch the sun go down around the fire. What about a bottle of red?
Oh, now you're talking. But I mean, guys, like seriously, I'll show you why we have to have this fire tonight. Check this out.
I'm going to get a fire going. Tan's going to get some beautiful lamb chops out and then watch the sun go down.
We got nowhere to be. Just a slow dance with the summer heat. The world outside can't wait a few. 'Cause right now we got nothing else to do. The sun is peeking through the cotton white blinds. Your hands still tangled up in mine. Feet on the wall.
What we got here, Tan?
Oh, well, we're just going to roast up some nice veggies. We've got Brussels sprouts, red onion, small potatoes, and some chopped up pumpkin. And then I'll get you just to like sizzle up that zucchini on the open flame with the chops tonight, Pete. Nice and easy.
Sounds good to me.
You just let it fall where it lies. Coffee's cold, but we take a sip, talk about nothing. Let the morning slip. Oh, it feels like that, like summer air through window cracks. Oh, it feels like that, like summer sun on
Beautiful.
quiet tracks.
So we've woken up to an absolutely beautiful morning here on Holowilena Station. This morning we've been invited up to Smoko at 10:30, so we're just about to leave. We're so looking forward to meeting Francis and Luke. Today we're heading on an awesome four-wheel drive track, but first it's morning smoko at the homestead. More yarns over a cuppa with Luke and Francis. But before we headed off, we were welcomed to have a look around the homestead and its old historic buildings. Built in 1855, the Holowilena homestead remains the heart of the property. Holowilena Station is the only South Australian pastoral lease still held by the family of the original lessees. 4th, 5th and 6th generations of the family live on the station, managing the agricultural enterprise and tourism business, keeping outback history alive. William and Janet Warwick came to South Australia from Scotland, arriving in 1839 with 3 children. In 1852, now with 10 children, the family travelled north to the Flinders Ranges. Imagine how it must have felt to these early pioneers, first venturing into the outback, then living in complete isolation. In 1855, with their family of 12 children complete, William and Janet commenced work on the present homestead. It hasn't changed much in the last 160 years. Over time, the Warwick family also established beautiful outbuildings, working with local materials, which are stone, timber and lime. They have recently undergone extensive renovations to the historic buildings around the homestead. True to their origins and their ancestors, they've used materials harvested from the station. The use of traditional materials means Holowilena retains its authenticity as well as its stories.
Really lovely there. That is a permanent spring which has reasonable water in it, so you'll see lots of birds.
So thanks so much, Francis. We're really looking forward to today and checking out this 4-wheel drive track. It's going to be amazing. Wow, what an absolutely beautiful meeting with Francis and Luke this morning. They did invite us to smoke out and they had some of their friends there helping out on the property. Thanks so much, because we got the best lowdown on the property, places to go and things to see, 4-wheel drive tracks, which is what we're on now. We're on one of the great 4-wheel drive tracks. So Francis has given us a printout of all the points of interest along the way. So this is it here. So we're on the Spring Well track. So we'll be taking you along with us today and exploring this magnificent property.
So we've just crossed Woolshed Creek. The trick of it is that you've got to zero out your odometer back at the homestead, and then Francis has got all the key points along the way in the booklet, and you just follow it till you reach that those number of kilometres, and then she's got a story about it. And the scenery is just putting it on for us. But it's not too hard. You definitely need a 4-wheel drive to do it. There's some high clearance, mainly because of the dips down into the creeks. And otherwise, yeah, not too hard at all.
Thanks to a grant from the South Australian Arid Lands Landscape Board, and with the help of a wonderful volunteer group, created tree guard packs to install. This aim is to protect young plants of significance until established and able to withstand grazing, as well as protecting mother plants for seed production. So we're now coming up to the 4-kilometre mark. So it's the access to creek and waterholes. It's a beautiful spot to stop, especially when there's water in the creek. You can walk down the stream about 200 metres to a semi-permanent waterhole. Okay, so we're now coming up to the old stone dog track. Another bit of a walk further up. You can actually go along and find a natural spring that had a well built into it in the early days of settlement. So we walked up to Spring Well and I think we found the spot, even though the well is dried up at the moment. It's an absolutely beautiful walk up through here, through the gums along the dry riverbed. Just beautiful. So we've just come up to the White Kangaroo Gate. That's at the 6.1 kilometre mark. So they say here that we used to see a big white kangaroo in this area around the 1980s and 1990s. He's long gone, but his memory lives on.
Coming up to Diane Graham's picnic spot tree. So it's a cracker spot for a picnic. It's a bit rocky, but I can certainly see why this is a picnic spot.
Okay, so we're now at the 8.3 kilometre mark, which is Spring Track Junction. Turn left here and continue downhill towards the creek. So we've now arrived at the walk to Holowilena Spring. We're not going to do the walk because we've got a fair bit more to get through on this track today. However, you can park your vehicle here and there's a 400 metre walk down and back up to your vehicle. It's slightly steep and stony, but recommended for more sure-footed walkers. When you return to your vehicle, you proceed back up the hill to Track Junction and turn left, then continuing on to Holowilena Hill track sign. Okay, getting exciting now. So we've reached the High Point turnoff. We're now passing through Holowilena Creek, which is it's a place where you cross and then you proceed up the hill towards the summit. So it's getting pretty exciting now.
Yeah, we just came down through into the creek bed and then I looked up and there's this very steep slope that's not only steep, but it's very rocky and gnarly. So don't often put it in low 4, but I popped it in there and we just crawled up there nice and slow, making our way up to the summit.
Awesome, we're nearly at the top. We can see the rock can and we can see some pretty significant views.
Looking forward to this.
Unbelievable. Was absolutely brilliant. What an incredible 360 degree.
Epic, absolutely epic. And the sun's setting, the light's getting warmer, and the road's getting bumpier.
That has just been the highlight, I think, so far on this 4-drive track. We've got a fair way to go, continuing on the loop. We need to get back to the homestead by 4 o'clock. So we're going to skip just a few places, but we'll show you just a couple more and we'll see you back at camp. So that was the Holowilena Hill summit. It's the highest hill on the Holowilena Station. So it has an elevation of 720 metres and it was pretty cool placing a stone on top of the rock cairn up there just for luck. Okay, so next up is the Tyler's Hill cairn. Standing pretty tall, I can see it just ahead of us now. Okay, so as we pass through this next creek bed, there is a feature here called the peeping tree. So we're now coming up to eroded gully.
Part of being the custodians of Holowilena, we feel a big responsibility to look after the environment. So in the last few years we've had some help from our local landscapes board to do some fairly significant environmental projects. So some are small, some are big. We have built some big banks to manage erosion and control landscape rehydration, but we've also done some really simple small projects like putting guards on significant plant species to protect them from feral animals.
Yeah, one of our big problems is we get lots of rainfall in short, intense rain, which causes runoff, and we need to capture that water by diverting it or holding it back and let it soak into the ground. So if we can, we're working on getting water back into the ground and not running off into our systems. If Holowilena is sustainable for future generations, we need to do work now to improve the environment, and we're working hard to make it go into the future.
Okay, so we've arrived back at the homestead. We're going to check in with Frances and let her know that we're back safe and sound, and then we'll head back to camp. See you down there.
The fall is coming, I can feel it. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin. Tonight the whiskey feels stronger. Gasoline on hidden desires. So I'll throw another log on the fire.
There we go.
Beautiful, look at this. Full of veg. I'm loving these camp oven casseroles, nice and easy.
Sure is delicious. Let's have a look. Check
They're
it.
going to be leftovers for tomorrow too. Love a good curry in winter. How hungry are you, Pete?
Well, since I didn't have lunch, other than eating dried apricots.
Because we were gallivanting all around the countryside, four-wheel driving.
Yeah, which is what we love to do. Yeah, that's fine, darling.
Is that all good?
Yes, thanks.
There's heaps more there.
Yeah, I'd rather go live.
Alrighty, let's do this. This looks so good.
Is ash.
Oh my goodness, it is a bit crisp this morning.
Whose idea was it to get up and film the shearing shed at dawn?
I'll admit it, but I'm sure you won't regret it, Pete.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh, so Pete's just looked at the temperature gauge and what's it reading?
Big fat 0.
The things we do to capture beautiful light moments. Anyway, so what we're doing is we're heading up to the beautiful Woolshed. Oh, I can just see two huge kangaroos bounding in front of us. We're heading up to the Woolshed and just to have a look around there and and see what else comes our way up the track this morning. So we'll see you up there.
Made out of native pines, and all the internals were made out of native pine as well. So it was made from materials on the place like the whole place was, but that started to rot away after time, and the pines were pulled down and the structure you see today was put over the top of it, and it was removed, and it's a much functional space now and can hold 800 sheep if you were to push them in very tight if it was wet. We shear in March. March is a good time of year. Days are still long enough and the weather's warm. We'd have 6 shearers running on that 6-stand shearing board. Shear 150 sheep per stand would be an average shearing for a station, so that's, what's that, 800 sheep a day. You'd have 6 shearers, 4 rouseabouts, a wool classer, a wool presser and a cook. So adds up to about 12, 13 or 14 people, depends on the team, and we house them in the shearers' quarters. And but we use learner shearers, which are improving their skills back to about 100 sheep a day. 600 a day through the shed, which keeps us busy enough, but it gives us time to process the sheep and do the work with them. And we house them in the shearers' quarters, and yeah, they look after themselves, which is provide the sheep in and out, and wool bales roll out the door at the end of it.
Holowilena's always been a merino sheep station, and Luke's been a shearer for his career, a professional shearer, and he's shore around the world. I'm a wool classer, so coming back to Holowilena, the wool and the sheep is very much what we wanted to do. In the last few years we've been very fortunate to be a part of the shearing schools, which is a really cool thing, something that we both had the chance to do when we were younger. And to just encourage young people coming into the industry is pretty special.
So with the shearing schools, we'll provide the facilities and the sheep, and they work on site, get paid for what they do, but they're under instruction from qualified trainers who teach them the better ways of shearing for themselves and for the animal and for the farmer. So we all work together and get a better product, and it's funded by industry funded, so we pay a levy as being wool growers, and it goes back into producing better shearers, which means we get a better job done.
Well, the original wool shed at Holowilena was a pine and pug shed. So I remember a little bit from my childhood. It was very beautiful, but it was also dark and wet. So my dad rebuilt the wool shed in the 1990s, and our shed now is fortunately very, very clean and modern. So it's safe for industry standards and the best it's really quite easy to prepare the wool as best we can with what we have.
But it's important for us to have a good functional shed because it's our main income. And it's good to have history, but you need something that is practical and functional when it's what you're here to do and what keeps the place going. So a modern shed's a pretty important thing to have if you want to have a good product.
We love getting in the shed and being part of the Woolshed action, but during our main shearing season, we're generally too busy bringing sheep in and out and handling sheep in the yards. That's our responsibility.
We get the kids involved, they're good help now. And I'll employ someone off the farm to come and help us because it's so intense. But it's the time of year we love, it's what we do.
We really love our merino wool. We love the whole shearing process.
It's always been a merino property and we intend to keep it that way. It grows good clean wool and it always sells well. So we'll keep growing wool while it's there's a market for it.
So what have we got here, Pete?
Well, this is the original press, so they've kept it. So that's how they used to do it before they did it by machinery. So,
Oh, really?
It's great. I love how they've kept these things, you know, it's fantastic.
This is so lovely to be able to pick up fleece like this again. Takes me back to my childhood in New Zealand when I used to roam around on the farms with all my friends who lived on the farms. I was a boat builder's daughter, so it's just lovely. It's bringing back all these lovely memories. But you can just feel the lanolin in there. Absolutely beautiful.
Being in this space, it just takes me back to when I did a exhibition on shearers, and the warmth of the timber, the light that comes in, it always reflects back to those days, and I just absolutely love it. I can walk around, though there's no shearers here, there's no sheep here, there's this sort of feeling, this anticipation of what's about to come. And it's just a privilege to just spend half an hour coming through this place, and it's one of the best maintained shearing sheds that I've ever been into. It's very, very well done and looked after.
Now going up to the homestead. We've just been invited back for smoko, back for morning tea with Francis and Luke and their friends. So that's just so lovely. And then after that, we're absolutely thrilled that Francis has offered to take us on a personalised tour through the old historic buildings on the property. Now there's a couple there that are really special because they were lovingly restored about 10 to 11 years ago, and it was all documented on a TV show by the ABC called Restoration Australia, and it's just fantastic if you get a chance to have a look at that on, I think it's ABC iView. Anyways, so we're going to go and see those old buildings. We're keen to learn more about them and that whole process and just what it means to Francis and Luke. The other thing is, and again, very kind of Luke to pull himself away from all the farm work, and he said he's going to come down and show us through the blacksmith shed. So again, very excited, particularly Pete. He can't wait to get in there and learn more about that. So we are just, again, very thrilled, and we feel very lucky to have this experience, and we're really thrilled to take you guys along with us. See you down there. Francis then welcomes us into the storeroom, not just a room, but a quiet treasury of the past. Every shelf holds fragments of family history, everyday tools turned heirlooms, and stories too precious to forget. It's a rare moment, and you'll understand just how special it is when you hear what Francis shares. This isn't just storage, it's stewardship.
If they were ever going to do a book about historical or significant daguerreotypes of Australia, that's the kind of picture they would like to have because there's so few photos of women working in the sort of pre-1850s. That's pretty cool. So yeah.
So this is the
random
bread
fun
box
stuff.
here.
Yeah. So we've got a photograph of Jenna and her eldest daughter Mary making bread in that up to their elbows. So that's pretty significant because that shows us how many people they were making bread for on any given day. So yes, they had 12 children in the first family, but they were also cooking for shepherds, cooking for travellers who came through. There was definitely swagmen coming through all the time, rabbit shooters. They also employed 2 tutors, which is pretty cool. So an extra 2 people living here full time, which I find amazing to think that these Scottish farmers had the foresight to employ tutors to teach their kids.
Yes.
Pretty amazing. So yeah, so they would make the bread dough every night, leave it by the stove to rise, and the next day bake the bread. Now this is one of my favourite things here, which I think is just quintessential Holowilena. So my great-great-grandfather, when he came out from Scotland, he was a master blacksmith, and he came here to be a sheep farmer. So this is a shepherd's crook, which may have been his or may not have been, but obviously very, very old, made by hand, and it's got this handmade blacksmith nail in the top there for reinforcing. So this is the shepherd's crook for the sheep farmer, and there's the piece of blacksmithing work right there as well. So that is essentially what Holowilena's built on. So very, very cool piece of gear. So Little Bo Peep, if you look in a nursery rhyme book, she's got this big loopy blacksmith thing with a curve. So she was a bit of a crook herself, Bo Peep, because she would catch her sheep by the neck, right?
Oh, okay.
So she was catching her sheep with her thing with a bow, totally impractical. This is a real shepherd's crook from Outback Australia, where if you wanted to give your little lamb a cuddle, you would sneak up quietly behind it, catch it gently by the leg, pull it in, give it a cuddle and let it go again. So that's the real deal right there. I love that one. That's one of my favourites. Well, some of these are the same sort of brands that we see today. This one's Bickford's Essence of Coffee and Chicory, which is super cool because they still sell this as iced coffee mix. So that's a very typical South Australian thing, Bickford's. Everything came here for a purpose. I mean, everything would have arrived. Every box would have arrived full. And of course, they never wasted anything. They kept it here to use, reuse. And then you think back to the years before, so the 1850s when they very first arrived here, and you know, they were just using slush lamps, like tins full of melted mutton fat that they would top up, and they would put a little wick of a scrap of cloth or even a stick sometimes, and that would be their only source of light late in the evening. We're very lucky here that we've got the diaries that go back to the 1850s. So we've got a record of station life. We know when somebody shod the horses or how many sheep they shore. But as farm diaries go, they're not very interesting. This is one of the few clues that we have about what they did as a pastime. So we have here a croquet set. Complete with the rules of playing the game of croquet from 1892. And I reckon they must have played croquet a lot because see how the balls have been patched? Yes, here. Have you got the W or the M? Yeah, so they put their initials on there, so they were obviously playing a lot. And they must have been fairly competitive. I found an old diary entry that says they played quoits. And it said that the diary writer, whoever that was, said he was a regular muff at that game.
This is a special story, and I'd love to see this.
Yeah, so this is my great-grandfather's travelling sewing kit, so very compact. It's got a date on there, 1907, so that's 3 years after he was married. And you open it up, and inside you'll find all the little bits and pieces that he would have needed. They are still tucked into the pockets there, and there's his little thimble,
that's
And
beautiful.
threads. There's buttons in there, Tan. You can have a look.
In here?
Yeah.
Oh my
I think one of them
goodness.
is open. Yeah. There you
Oh,
go.
isn't that beautiful? He had all different buttons too. Like, look at that, the little silver one.
There's probably boot buttons and
Yeah.
everything in there.
How special is that?
Very typical Holowilena stuff that people had this here, they used it, they travelled with it, and it's all ended up here. And the reason it's ended up here is because Robert was one of 12 in the family, but he was the only boy who married and had children. So the farm could have been split up, like all families, and the possessions gone every which way. But Robert was the only one who actually married. He was 56 years old when he proposed to the 27-year-old next door neighbour. So yeah, we still have the letter of proposal, which is very cool.
That is such a special story, and thank goodness.
Just by listening, you would have known exactly where your horse was. By listening, and you are the sheep, so you would have known where your mob of sheep were. So,
That's fabulous.
isn't it? So just having to listen and work that out for yourself. Oh yeah, that's where the horse is. I'll go that way. This one's got written on it, "Success to horse teams," which is really cool. I think it says a lot about how much they revered their horses. None of them are horseshoes, even though they look like horseshoes. That one is clearly too small for a horse. That one's a donkey shoe from when they had donkey teams and they used to take their donkeys into the Craddock Donkey Derby. Do you know what that one is, Tom?
I have no idea, but it's less oval, isn't it? It's more a perfect U shape.
Yeah, that one is off of a person's boot, so that will fit almost exactly on the heel of my boot.
Oh, for goodness
We find
sake.
those everywhere. So that one also is off a person's boot. That's off a little Cuban heel.
So it's obvious to say that would stop the leather wearing down, the leather sole.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly on country out here.
That's right. This one up here is my great-grandmother's side saddle.
Oh, wow. So she would be wearing her full dress attire, beautiful long skirts and...
Absolutely. She was a bit of an adventurer. We've got photos of her sitting on camels. She also collected seed. She pressed flowers. She was a real bushie at heart.
Oh, that's so special.
My great-grandfather, when he wrote the 4-page letter of proposal to his much younger next-door neighbour, he actually said, my life is going to be in the bush and you know the life I will lead. And it invites her to join him living in the bush.
So she well and truly knew what she was
What she
up
was in
for,
for,
and
yes.
but love overrides all, right?
That's it. So my dad could tell you the story of any object in here because he either used it himself as a young man or he learnt it from his family. He could tell you who owned something, why they had it, how they had it. We could actually trace the paperwork back for a lot of the bits and pieces in here as well. So might be a cart that we have the advertising brochure for, and then we have the receipts and the diary entry from when someone picked it up. So all the clues are there. I think it's really important for our generation to do some documenting of the history. We have so many tools available to us now to do that. So over time we're planning to catalogue everything, get our archives sorted out, and eventually I would like to write the history of Holowilena so it's there for the future generations.
Fantastic. Beautiful work and vital work. Francis then leads us over to the blacksmith shed. Soon, Luke appears. Once again, it feels like a rare privilege. He stepped back from farm work today to share something quietly extraordinary, something few ever get to witness. Mostly self-taught with help from a few of his mentors, Luke's work at the forge blends skill, creativity and a deep love for the outback way of life.
Good morning.
How are we going?
Good, good, good.
What do you reckon?
Do we want a bit of action in here?
That'd be great.
You put some dry.
Newspaper,
Yep.
some leaves, just gum leaves. So it's just like a normal fire, start small, build it up. Bit of pine here. And then we move to a bit of charcoal. Just red gum charcoal,
Yep.
because that catches quite easily.
Right.
I'll make that myself.
Yeah, lovely.
Then once it gets going, we move on to coke. That's coking coal, but that's a lot harder. That needs a bit more heat to catch.
Yep.
So all being well, we should be able to fire this up. Then we get fire.
Yeah, that's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, the better the air, the better the fire, and that'll get up to over 2,000 degrees. That'll melt steel. That's the beauty of mechanical air. Bellows would have been a lot tougher. You know how Blacksmith gets his name?
No.
It's not because it's black and dirty, yes it is, but it's more about the metal we're working with. So you've got a goldsmith, a tinsmith, a coppersmith, they're all metal workers.
Yep.
Blacksmiths work with black iron,
Yep.
and when you heat it up, this scale falls off it. When it gets to a certain temperature, as it cools down, every time it cools down, a little bit of that will flake off. That's what you see when you're hitting it, is those little bits. They're not actual sparks, they're just little bits of that steel just falling off. So black iron, black steel, blacksmith.
Okay.
Yeah. So there, we've already got a bit of heat into our work. The sparking is the red gum charcoal, just burning as red gum does. So my idea is to make this into a point, a long drawn out point, starting to take shape. I'm going to be making for you the rat's tail poker, which is used for generally moving coals around in your fire or picking things up. So different hammers with different purposes. You've got a round face there, well, dome face on the horn. Creates a lot more energy on the impact. My first one. And you see those bits flaking off.
Yeah.
One more heat on that. That's right. That's why we have this dark environment.
Yes.
So you can watch what the metal's doing. So I've got to be careful now I don't burn it.
Yes.
Because it's thin on the end, I can start losing. And that's not what you want, because you can't put it back on. So when you draw something down, it has to be drawn down four-sided. Otherwise, it just gives a chance for the energy to go somewhere. If you're on a round surface, it just won't draw down. So now I need to make it round again. That's the profile I wanted. So that's four-sided. So now it's got to just hit it on the edges and it'll come round again. now I'm hitting it on edge. We'll go from 4-sided to 8-sided. But I like leaving a bit of an edge on it, makes it look more handmade. If you make it too perfectly round, it looks like it's been manufactured. So traditionally a blacksmith would not want hammer marks in his piece of work. That's poor craftsmanship. But today, people like it as a sign of being handmade. So I'm going to leave that fairly rough, but the beauty is they're all individual. They're all one of a kind. So you can get away with some imperfections. Nearly hot enough.
My dad, as a very small child, remembers the blacksmith shop being used, but yeah, once they could access gas, they just didn't need it.
See, that's created the eye. So I'm going to show you something now, just for demonstration purposes. I'm working that at a red heat. Good working temperature, good for bending, good for hammering. When your material gets too hot, above about 1250 degrees, see these real fine sparks?
Yes.
Sort of like sparklers
Yes.
in the back there.
Yep.
So this is a piece of metal that's actually burning. See that? That's melting.
Wow.
So I'm going to get it red hot and smash it on the anvil, and you'll see sparks just go like a shower of sparks. It's only for show. But when I'm chucking in so much red gum, I'm getting those sparks just because of the material I'm using. But people normally like a few sparks when you're in a blacksmith shop.
Yeah.
As easy as it looks, it took me a little bit of practice. I'm just going to flatten this out. That's all right. Flatten up. Got a round set, our logo.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll be punching in there now. So that's a prove it was made here. Holding it flat. One more move onto the swage block before I'm finished. So what would you like this stamped with your name on it?
AZT, Arts Own Travels.
AZT. Not quite. That's all right. That's good. AZT. There you go.
There you go, converted forever.
Yep. Nice lacquer on it.
Okay, all right.
But I'll just quickly finish that off. They look better polished. This is the original forge. So I would like to think some of these tools are what William Warwick brought with him or brought while he was here. This shop hadn't been used for about 40 to 50 years before we got in here, and with the luck of friends, now friends, helped us establish the workshop again. The blacksmith shop would have been the heart of the property originally because they needed it to make everything from nails to shoeing horses to sharpening tools for building. So every station would have had a blacksmith shop of some kind, whether they done it themselves or employed someone to do it. So coming out from Scotland as a master blacksmith, he had the skills to set up a station and gave him confidence to come into the Outback and set this up to what it is today. So we're very lucky to have it still existing. Yeah, there's a genuine handmade item from Holowilena. Comes with a lifetime warranty. If you wear it out, I'll replace it. Made in Australia.
Thank you so much, Luke. I
Good.
appreciate the love that's gone into it and the
Good
skill
man.
that you've learned. It's
All right.
an honour to take this.
Yep, they're only available from here.
Good.
No other place. The story goes with it as much as the product. The story is more important that goes with it.
We'll tell the story.
Good boy.
Thank you.
The tour doesn't stop there. Francis takes us next door to the restored cottage. This humble cottage, dating right back to the mid-1800s, was once in serious decline. Now it's been lovingly restored with repaired walls and a new roof faithful to the original, and interiors that are kept simple to honour its past. Featured on Restoration Australia, the cottage tells a quiet, powerful story of early station life. More than just a building, it stands as a living link to South Australia's pastoral history. It's constructed using the traditional pug and pine method, a building technique that was prevalent in this region.
Oh, wow. It's a cool little space, isn't it?
This is exquisite.
Yeah. It's got a nice feeling in here. We like this spot. It's quite lovely. So there was bunk beds in here for 14 men. Yeah. Pretty hard to imagine what that might have looked like. We don't really know what it looked like inside in the 1850s.
What are the materials, Francis? What's the roof, for example, made of?
The ceiling is actually hessian bags that have just been lime washed. So we burnt limestone here as part of the restoration work we did, and used my grandfather's diaries to learn where they harvested the limestone years ago and how they went through the whole process. So that was super cool. The bags actually have a little story of their own, that there's bags up here from the flour mills in our local town of Hawker. And that's pretty cool to think that there's a little story up there of the days when people believed that the rain followed the plough. Further up north at Farina, they were growing wheat and sending it on the gan back to Hawker and milling it into flour. And here we have the flour bags that might have come out of those mills. So it all pieces together as part of a broader outback history. Like a lot of outback buildings, this is just very much an instant building that they would have created with the materials they had to hand. So they needed shelter. They would cut the native pines green and put them in the ground the next day, and then block up the holes with whatever kind of pug or mortar was available to them. So this building is a little bit more luxurious. This is rendered right around the inside with a lime mortar. Back in the 1850s, it's very unlikely that a worker's hut would have had that kind of comforts to it, just because of the logistics of getting the limestone.
And what about this beautiful fireplace?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting one. We don't know the story of the fireplace, but we would assume that two shepherds were possibly living in here a little bit longer term, and they were probably cold. So they cut and shut the building, put the chimney in and put the fireplace in. And likewise, we would assume that the mantle came from another building somewhere and they repurposed it. It's very unlikely that they would have purchased or made such an ornate piece for a worker's hut. Yeah. So these little nameplates on the door, this is my grandfather's name. It says F.R. Warwick, Holowilena Station, Craddock. And he was using this as his carpentry workshop at the time. So he went to the Adelaide railway station, and when he put a coin in the machine, it was like an old poking machine, and for one coin you'd get 3 letters, and he stamped out these little nameplates.
And then another surprise awaited us. This time we found ourselves being led down towards the creek bed, puzzled and curious. Why here? What could possibly be down here? And then we turned the corner, and there it was, a cellar, tucked quietly into the banks of the creek bed, with a weathered plaque above the door reading circa 1850.
We call it the cellar, but definitely the powder magazine in the 1880s.
Come in, your eyes will adjust quite quickly actually. So,
Oh wow.
see how beautiful this place this is.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. So yeah, it's quite a nice little place to just pop in and have a nip of port of an evening. We do that. That's right. Cool in summer, warm in winter. Sort of reasonably constant 20-ish degrees. Will be a little bit cooler at the end of winter, a little bit warmer at the end of summer. But we don't know what this looked like in the 1850s. And when we restored it, we just primarily wanted it to store wine and preserves.
Yeah.
We've tried to make it feel like it was originally intended, which is storing what is plentiful now for later. So yeah, being farmers, we like our cold meat, and we like to have a lot of chutneys for sandwiches. So yeah, we preserve the fruit that we grow and make relishes and things as well. So, original powder magazine. So there's still the lock on the door where they would have locked the powders away, and it certainly wasn't for warfare or anything. The primary use of the explosives was actually to blow up the big red gum logs to make the timber more achievable sizes for cutting.
Wow, yeah.
Very, very nice chutney, particularly for steak sandwiches.
That's why he was pinching rosemary out of your garden this morning.
Good boy. Yeah, man after my own heart.
Thank you so much for today, Frances. We are ever so grateful to have this beautiful experience with you. It's been such a privilege.
Thanks for coming along and for sharing our stories.
Well, the sun's just set and it's just a beautiful evening. I got a boneless leg of lamb. Again, the wood is the red river gum, so it burns beautifully. And just there is the camp oven. It's been on for about half an hour. All right, let's see how it's been going. It should take about an hour. It's not big and it's just been cooking away there. Look at that. Oh my gosh, how good is that? So that's going to be ready probably less than a half an hour, I'd say. Weber brought out this little eye grill device that you can put a sensor into or whatever you're roasting. In this case, it's the lamb, and then you can read it off your phone. So I'll just see what it is and how it's going, so that way we know to get exactly medium rare. So that's the sensor. That's my phone, and you can see a wire going into the camp oven. Yes, there are wireless ones, but I've had this old favourite now for a long time, and I know it works perfectly for me. Now it's reading 45 degrees, all right, so that's the internal temperature of the lamb in the camp oven. And underneath it you can see 54. Now 54 is the temperature we want to get it to, and the trick of it is just cook it slowly. You don't want to put too many coals on, otherwise you just have quite a burnt roast lamb, and they're not cheap, so you certainly wouldn't really want to do that. Okay, it's reached temperature, 54 degrees. So I'm bringing it out over now onto the table. Looks fantastic. I mean, how good are these Stratus tables, hey? Like you can just pop things straight on without worrying about burning it. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the camp. I'll put it in a foil tray because Tan's going to do a bread and butter pudding. So I just wanted to keep it fairly clean. So the oven, put straight back on the fire. Out. There you go. Holy moly. Now, so the roast is cooked, and I've just popped the bread and butter pudding into the camp oven, and we'll pop it on the fire, and I'm not sure how long it'll take to cook. We'll just keep an eye on this one.
Here you go, Pete.
Oh, thank you, my darling. That is delicious. Awesome.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
What you got cooking, Tan?
Oh, okay. So I've got some pikelets cooking because you know what? It's really nice. We're just staying put at camp today. So I thought, beautiful morning. We're at camp. We've got the time. We've got the power. We've got everything we need. So it's a cook up this morning. And I thought also because we're going to go on a walk today up the creek bed, I thought, well, we'll have sort of a bit of a brunch first before we head off. Have a double shot, thanks.
Coming up, absolutely. Just done the first one. We're a bit low on pods out here in the bush, but we've got plenty of power to make a coffee.
Back up the track, back up to the caravan after making some art. And Pete and I have been looking for this old chimney because it's what our campsite's named after. And Francis and Luke were telling us the story today. So this old chimney here right beside me is actually what the shepherds used to use. They built it as a place to light a fire at night and cook some food, and they would just lay their swags out right beside the walls of the chimney to keep warm at night. How beautiful is that?
We've sort of gone for a walk out of the camp today, so we were going to walk up the stream just up here ahead of us, and well, it's not a stream, but it's just a dry creek bed, and on this side you'll see this massive great granite rock wall running all the way down. So you can imagine the water pouring through, you're hitting that wall and then flushing out across where these beautiful red gums are. So up around the corner we'll see what we can find.
Yeah, let's go and explore. It's really nice when you have no idea where you're going. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon, so the light's quite low. Makes for comfortable walking. And yeah, we'll take you along with us.
You can't help but notice when you're coming through the Flinders Ranges, these majestic red river gums that stand in the creek beds.
We've been thinking even in the harshest conditions, these guys still find a way to survive by tapping into the underground water systems. I mean, that's just a symbol of pure resilience. You know what they do? They mark the paths of really old, ancient pathways, old riverbeds, and you can really feel it. So we've now climbed up onto the bank. We're now on top of that rocky escarpment, and it's almost like we're looking through the canopies of the trees towards the setting sun. So it's a really lovely perspective from up here.
We're looking down at the creek bed below us, and we're getting a sort of a bird's eye view of it.
I think one of the joys of being on a family property, and especially Holowilena, that has been in our family since well before Bert met Wills, it's being able to share our passion with other people. We have guests come and they see Holowilena differently to how we see it, but we have a real opportunity to preserve not only the history but also the environment and pass it on to our children. We love it when people come here and they want to come back again. We love it when grandparents bring their grandkids. We love it when mums and dads ask their teenagers to leave their phones at home and just come and enjoy what's out here. It's only a very small part of the outback, but we think it's special, and it's pretty cool when other people think that's special too.
Out here at Holowilena, time doesn't just pass, it settles. The land stretches wide and still, holding stories older than memory. Every stone, every fence post, every hand-forged nail carries the legacy of 6 generations, not just of survival, but of care, grit, and deep-rooted connection. Walking alongside Luke and Frances, we came to understand that history isn't just something behind glass or buried in books. It's alive. It breathes through the hands that restore, the voices that remember, and the hearts that keep showing up, straddling 2 worlds, the old and the new. Francis and Luke aren't just preserving history, they're living it, honouring it, and thoughtfully reshaping it for the future. They walk a rare path, one foot planted firmly in the legacy of those who came before, and the other stepping steadily forward towards what's still to come. With deep respect, they remember and restore, from stone walls to stories, from the blacksmith's forge to the family homestead. And with quiet determination, they reimagine and renew, blending old world wisdom with modern custodianship, sharing skills, welcoming others, and protecting what matters most. In a world that rushes, Holowilena reminds us to slow down, to listen, because some places don't just show you the past, they gently change how you see the present. Luke and Francis, we can't thank you enough. Thanks so much for your company. We feel truly privileged to have been able to film and share this experience with you. If you're enjoying the content we create and want to support the pride and joy we pour into our channel, here's how you can help. Leave a comment below the video. Give the video a like. It really helps YouTube share our content with more viewers like you. And if you're not already subscribed, we'd love for you to consider it. It's completely free, there's no spam, and it's a simple way to support our channel's growth. Subscribing also means you'll get a gentle heads up whenever we release a new video. Just beautiful, high quality content filmed in stunning 4K. Stay inspired, stay safe, and as always, happy adventures. See you in the next one.